Okay, so this is issue 3 of Lobo. I cannot remember who this cover is by. All I remember is it looked very, very good. Obviously got the standard cover there as well. So yeah, so we're 3 issues in. Technically, we are into kind of a new story. It kind of does continue from the original two-parter, but we're off again. First of all, I love the fact that he's got his Omega Men suit on in the beginning. That's really, really cool. Um, and he's being looked over by some kind of program or whatever, basically checking how he is and kind of checking in on him and see what's going on. And it seems to be I think he's more stupid than he is. I don't think he's that stupid. Anyway, um, so they're talking about him killing his entire planet. And you think, oh, this is going to be a kind of retelling of that. No, not quite. So artwork style for this interior is pretty nice. Now I'm hoping this is obviously because it is little little Lobo, rather than Jorge Corona not being able to finish off the book, because that would be a shame. It's very, very in mind of kind of the slight silliness of the other stuff. Basically, they go to a space dolphin thingy. Lobo causes havoc. The space dolphins escape, and they're all very, very happy. I mean, that looks to me like a snail rather than a dolphin, but it does tend to kind of look more dolphin-like later on as you go along. Anyway, he's not very, very happy with him. And they kind of like trying to berate him. So again, we're like, oh, is this going to happen? Is this going to be where it turns into like the the story of him killing the ping? No, he's got his space trike, as it were, and he goes out for a ride, and he runs into some purple constructs, and it turns out that there's a mauve lantern there, and apparently this mauve lantern um, can create glee effectively. And it's like, whoa, don't wait a minute, mauve lanterns, other lanterns. This doesn't fit continuity. DC breaking continuity. That's crazy because their continuity is all over the bloody place. And anyway, Lobo basically knocks the guy out and gets hold of the ring and starts causing havoc with it. Which again, great for a gag, ha 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 ha. But the ring at least the green rings originally were sentient and they could determine willpower rolls, and you'd have to have a decent amount of willpower. Do you have to have a decent amount of glee? I suppose technically speaking, Lobo does take glee in his own destructive nature, so I suppose that kind of does work in that respect. But as he's going along, he's basically causing absolute terror and destroying stuff, and gets in trouble with tells all the people that are going on. And just as he's creating this giant teddy bear, this Green Lantern turns up to basically smack the crap out of all of his constructs, and they have a big fight. Now I don't know who this Green Lantern is, but he is very cool looking. I thought it was Nort for a second, which had been really smart. Um, anyway, so they managed to defeat him. They get hold of the ring and take it away from him. And, and then of course, the lantern goes like, okay, yeah, this is a bit silly. You'll be stripped of your title. You're not going to use the ring anymore to the mobile lantern, and basically you'll be replaced by a Green Lantern in this thing. And it says, oh, I pray that the Guardians never mess around with any other emotions other than willpower. Which kind of like, okay, you've kind of reset the canon a little bit, I suppose. In the fact that you've included like a reset. It's like, oh, there was one and it didn't really matter, but it's like, but then of course he gets hold of the purple ring again and starts causing havoc again. But again, I don't think that's obviously not going to lead to anything because that's just a gag ending. And then we get a prequel next time that it's going to be Lobo versus Supergirl. Now that's a surprise because obviously he's in the film, and you half realizing possibly that the only reason there's a Lobo book out is because this Lobo's going to be in Supergirl. I think I wouldn't say this book's run out of steam already, 3 issues in, but it does seem to be a kind of like a collective, short stories. We've had 2 issues. This is probably going to be 1 issue, and it's just joke stories. This is what it's going to be. When you compare it to stuff like Deathstroke, which as it seems to be, it's going to be dead serious and it's going to go through and actually have a continuing story, or even like Firestorm, where it's going to have a continuing story at the moment. The Lobo one, I think, is just going to turn into just gag of the month, which is a shame because again, I personally, as much as I loved the original Bisley stuff back in the day, I preferred Lobo when he was with Legion 89, Legion 90, all that kind of stuff, because he was a character that actually, it was a rogue character that had to be kind of reeled in, but it was still a character that actually had thing. And you could have done something like this, and even like in the Countdown or 52 or whatever it was, where we had the dolphins and he was running at, that Lobo kind of had like a personality and a purpose and actually felt like an actual real character. This just feels like gags. And unfortunately, your patience with it kind of wears a little bit thin for me anyway. But yeah, so we'll see. I cannot see this being ongoing. I think this is going to be 6 issues at the very, very most, because there's no way in hell they are doing this for 50 issues. I just can't see it happening. I mean, I know we did have a Demon series way in the back, but I mean, even that, the Demon had stories rather than gags all the time. And we'll see what the Demon series is like when this comes out. So we shall see. So, yeah, Lobo's getting to be on that fence of, am I liking it enough to keep buying it? At the minute, yes, that's fine. But with everything else that's coming out, like I say, Dead Man, Demon, all this kind of stuff, I'm not too sure. If the Jonah Hex series materialises that they say is going to happen, then there's no way in hell that this would outweigh a Jonah Hex series. I'd be dropping that for that, no problem at all. So yeah, anyway, so not too bad, but I'd like to see something a little bit different. There you go. Anyway, that's enough rambling for now. So thanks for listening, and hopefully I will see you on another video very, very soon. Bye bye.